Good morning. This is the office hour for Oregon State University PDC-PRO Summer 2023. This is call number 6, and the next lesson due is assignment 6 on October 2nd. So, do a little overview of the assignment. Share screen. Well, we're waiting for folks to show up. Okay, so let's move it over. Okay, so this one is very straightforward. So you've just done your site water flow analysis, so your soil mapping tests is basically just one assignment. So it doesn't have a separate survey, it doesn't have a bunch of different pieces, but it is still fairly involved. And here we are with somebody. Good morning.
Hello, Susan. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good, thank you.
Good. I was just about to launch into a little overview of the soil assignment. Do you want me to keep rolling with that?
Yeah, you can do your thing and then I'll ask
Okay.
my question after.
Okay. So yeah, it's really straightforward. It's just there's kind of a lot of pieces within the assignment, but it's just one assignment, so there's no survey, all the different pieces that there are in a lot of other assignments. There's a whole list of different soil qualities or characteristics. People might not be able to find all of them. Normally those are associated with the USGS soil profiles, but if you're outside of the US, those may not be as accessible. So just do your best to find the ones that you can. And otherwise, just delete them, or say like, couldn't find or something like that. This is all pretty straightforward, I think. Go to your base map, find your 3 sites, sample, take a photo of where you sampled, describe what vegetation you can about where you were sampling, and then give us an idea of why you were testing, like if that's going to be a future garden site, you think there might be a problem, whatever, there's some history, or like this used to be lawn, you want to change it, whatever you want that reason to be. So try and pick 3 sites that are fairly distinct from one another. Don't forget image titles and fill out the information bar. And then for each one of those sites, you've got a separate slide, so 1, 2, 3. And within that, you're going to just be conducting all of this analysis. So there's an image of each of these processes of the soil texture by feel, where you're going to be like running it through your hands. There's an image of your percolation tests, which can just be picture of your hole with the water in it. That's fine. And then the hole with your ruler showing the soil profile before you fill it with water. So make sure to get this picture with a ruler in it before you go pouring water in your hole, or be prepared to dig another hole. I think all this is pretty straightforward. Students generally do really well in this assignment, as far as like getting all the pieces. Sometimes the results are quite different from what you find on USGS or on whatever, if there's another soil database that you come across. And that can be interesting in itself, because sometimes the site history is quite different than what the map would predict. So the maps were really generated in, I think in the 60s and 70s. And so some of that, some of the land use history is really going to change what you're finding on the ground. So just keep that in mind, that if your results are quite different than what than what the data says it should be, go with what your actual results are telling you. So this is a pretty general kind of like go crazy, my friend, brainstorm where you can get stuff from. So you could be everything from like leaves and like local horse manure or chicken manure if you have access to those things. You could think about starting to pick up waste greens from restaurants, anything like that. So just really kind of think outside the box in terms of where you could get some of these materials. So carbon rich materials, also like wood chips, you can get free drop-offs, cardboard, any free cardboard. I mean, you won't pay for cardboard, but free, I would say free cardboard. What are some other good sources? Lawn mowings, if they've been spread out to dry. So if they're actually brown, normally they would actually go into green because they're quite rich. And then any other resources, if you've got like a rock dust source, that's really good for building mineral. Any kind of like municipal compost that you can get and spread, things like that. So and then here's a section actually specifically. So how do your soil samples compare with the narrative descriptions of the soils on the soil maps? So there is actually some expectation that those might be quite different, or at least somewhat different. And then you want to think about what your goals going forward for building soils, like maybe what your priority areas are going to be, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, what you're going to need to bring together for that. Your typical SWOT analysis, and then any questions. And that's it. So the one thing with the jar tests here, when you're separating out your separate layers, sometimes they take quite a while to do. That's why I wasn't on the ball as I have been in the past about sending out a reminder ahead of the break. But sometimes it's useful to students to get that jar test going even during the break, so before they even begin this assignment, because it can take a few days for that to settle out. Depending, especially it seems like if students have got a lot of heavy clay and especially calcium rich clays, they tend to, the water stays really cloudy and it's a bit harder to separate out. So okay, that's my blurb.
Awesome.
Did you come with questions?
I just had kind of one, and it was maybe just more of a, I guess it kind of just depends on the site and kind of just rely on what your data is. So one of my percolation tests I did behind the west side of the house, and that's the one that butts up against the canal. Okay. And it took and I was just mainly concerned of like if I should do it again, but it took like 27 hours for that hole to drain. And so I just didn't know if that was like kind of out of the norm, if I should try it again, or if it's just because it just is.
That sounds about, I mean, that's pretty extreme, but it sounds about right, given that you're on such a residential site. So when they clear an area for building, of course, they have like multiple pieces of equipment specifically going back and forth that to compact it. So you're essentially like building on top of concrete, even though,
Sure.
yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that you've got very, very low percolation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of makes more sense, because like out on the south end in the where plants and everything is, it was probably like 10 minutes that it drained. So I was like, wait, is that like too much? And I was just like, I don't know. So those were the first two I had done. I haven't done the other one yet, but I was just like, okay. So I just didn't know.
I mean that 27 that doesn't surprise me, because we had a spot here where we had to dig up around irrigation manifold, and it's right next to the side of the house, and that pit held water for, I want to say, weeks. Like it was like it's seriously compacted through there, and it's also very heavy clay, which I'm guessing you probably have. I'm not sure what the geology is right where you are.
It wasn't terribly clay heavy, because I do have the tests, the jar tests.
Okay.
But it didn't seem too clay heavy. I haven't done the percentages yet, but I feel like it was mostly silt, and then sand. That one I think I might have to redo. I don't know, because I'd originally just dug with just a trowel, and like kind of got in deep down, but then I was like, oh, well, like maybe I should just do it with like the whole 12-inch one. So I might redo that one just to see if I could get a better result, because some of the layers kind of meshed together in like parts of the
Okay.
trailer. I don't know if that's just because of that reason or not, but
Interesting. Okay. Okay, I was just gonna look up your site here. Oh, um, I have to admit, I don't use this on a regular basis because I've got, I've got the results for my site and the sites that we've been working on. So there's my state. So I've changed it. Oh, here we go. Geospatial data gateway. Yeah, I don't want downloadable. Oh. That big green button right there. It says start web soil survey.
it took me a minute to find it too. I was very confused.
I think that's one thing when you're the student, when you're let me see. So oh, here we go by address. So you're properly South Jordan, Utah, right?
Yeah. And I actually pulled it up just barely because I was just looking into this. Are you looking for like the type of the soil?
Yeah, I wanted to see what
So on the west side, which really is not much on the property, I feel like there's maybe that west side of the house could be technically part of it, but that's like a hill-filled loam.
okay, let me pull
To
up your
3%. And
can you drop your address into the chat just because I can't I
yes,
don't think I have the bandwidth to load your project at the same time to get your address.
no, yes, I can do that. Oh,
There we go.
yes, and it is in South Jordan.
Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. Incoming. No. Okay, so now I want the soil now. I did specify an AOI. Come on, be nice to me. There we go. Okay. Okay, so you got your Bramwell State clay loam, Celtic clay loam, Hillfield loam. Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Right. So you're pretty much entirely on that BSB. Oh, okay. So that would make sense. Your silty clay loam, yes, you're seeing a lot more silt.
Okay.
That's a pretty good match.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that was kind of like my main question, just the big variances between the percolation tests.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that difference probably wouldn't account for the difference in those two soil types would
mhm.
not account for the differences in percolation. It's
Okay.
more the use history, like the fact that, you're in a highly residential site. It's been seriously compacted to
Yeah,
to create that.
and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that works. That works. I think that was my main question on this one. Yeah, everything else seems straightforward enough to do the tests and everything. So
Okay. Cool. How was your break? Did you
it
take a
was
break?
it was lovely. Yeah, I did take a break. I was like, oh, I'll step away for,
Yeah, I'm
for
good.
a little bit. I did
Yeah.
do the tests just last week and everything, but it was
Okay.
great. It was a great break. I was able to get away for a couple days just last weekend down south and went to the lake, and so that was great. And so it was great. How was your break?
It was good. We went to Disneyland.
Awesome. That is
Like
awesome.
probably the least characteristic for us trip to do, but it was a combination birthday, Christmas, next birthday's probably next Christmas present from a family member. So,
No,
and it was
that's
my
awesome.
daughter's fifth birthday,
Aw.
and it's Disneyland California's 100-year anniversary. So
Mhm.
it's pretty special. And
That's
she loves
awesome.
Halloween. She loves like Jack Skellington and everything. And so it was just a really good timing that worked out.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a nice break. It was like I was so ready to be cynical, but we just had such a good time.
Mhm.
Like, and we hit it hard. Like we were in the lineup at 6:15 in the morning and like hit all the kiddie rides before the big doors opened and
Yes.
did both parks. And yeah, so I feel like we definitely we got somebody else's money's worth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You
Yeah,
you kind of have to. You're like you
yeah,
have to be in there for a while and gotta make do of all the time. So
yeah. So
so that's awesome. That's super fun.
yeah. Yeah, so back into it now. And just I've got another cohort of students starting today. So
Oh,
it's all California. It's a smaller group, but they're all California. So
is it like this same class or is it a
same course.
different?
Yeah, I only teach this course.
Okay.
Like some instructors take some PDC and some PDC-PRO, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, I just really like digging into this course and like the level of detail and stuff. So it's worked out for me just focusing on this course.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
That's neat.
yeah.
Well, it's busy time for you for
It's a
sure.
busy time. And then we go to Canada for 2 weeks next week to visit my
Oh, wow.
family. So
Yes, very busy for you.
yeah,
It's exciting.
yeah. So
Exciting.
okay, well, thanks for showing up. It's nice to see your face.
No, yeah, of course. I was a little confused. I was like, I think it's today, but
Yeah, I meant to send out an email. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm moving my horse this weekend to a new boarding situation.
uh,
So I was just having this flurry of texts between my current boarder and the new ranch because she's just over a year
mhm.
from her last vaccinations. And of course, there's a whole laundry list of vaccines. And I was like, but I don't get paid until probably the second or third week of October. So it's like I was really hoping to get that done in October, but I didn't realize that they were done last June. So
Uh-huh.
she's out of date, and I just trying to figure out like which vet I can. Anyway, it's all
Yeah.
sorted. It all sorted, but it got to like 10:25, and I was like, oh, I didn't send out a reminder email. So a
That's
lot of task switching today. It's a lot of task.
it's okay. Yeah, no, you have your own life to worry
Yeah,
about, and
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, so it's all good. So yeah, I'll try. I'm gonna try and get back on reminders because it did seem like more people showed up, and which is it's just nice because it's nice to make sure people are getting their questions answered, and it seems to help people move through the course more smoothly.
Yeah, no,
And that's what I
I
want.
enjoy
Like
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, but,
totally.
cool. Okay, well, it sounds like you're well on track. Do you have any questions? Have you looked into lesson 6 then, or are you just focusing on this one?
What is it? I've really just been working just on the soil one, so that's kind of where
Okay,
I've just been
cool.
at. So
Correct. Lesson 7, lesson 6 is
7.
the other one. Yeah.
No, I haven't done 7 yet. So
Okay. All right. Cool. Okay, well, have a great week and I'm always here.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
always here.
Good luck with all your things.
Thanks, Molly.
Okay, we'll see you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other show-ups because that is 15 minutes well into our office hour. If you have other questions, feel free to email me, drop them in comments, send them in the discussions. Otherwise, have a nice week. And suction. We'll see y'all.